introducing myself. My name is Naresh Segran from Kuala Lumpur as well, right? So now, currently I am residing in Singapore. I'm here since the year 2017. I came here after completing my studies. After I completed my PhD from University of Malaya, I came to Singapore since I got a job offer here, and since then, here I am. How did I get started? So the interest in precious metals actually began in the year 2010, 2011. So it was like more than 10 years ago. So what happened was that after I completed my degree, I did my degree in biomedical science. So I'm not from a financial or economics background. I'm from a science background. And by the way, I'm working currently as a research scientist in Singapore and in one of the companies here. So after I completed my degree in biomedical science, I was working as a research assistant in the same university, which is the Tunku Abdul Rahman University. And while working there, I also do other side hustles. I used to teach at tuition centers. I used to go as a private tutor, teach as a private tutor. But of course, most importantly, I used to work as a waiter during the weekends. Then at one point, what happened is that one of my senior leaders in that waiters group, so he was the one who opened my eyes. Then he said, "Hey Naresh, you know that in the wallet that you keep your cash, that cash is actually is crashing in value." I wasn't aware of this. I know that we need to earn more money, but in terms of inflation and everything, that one I was clueless. So I started finding more information. So this was in 2010, 2011, and whatever he said was really true. That our money is losing value. Even Puan Nick also was mentioning briefly about our money is losing value and things like that. So it's very similar concept. So now that I know that our money is losing in value, so the next thing is, what should we do? So that's when the precious metals concept came in the picture. So at the time, I know that the answer to store the value is by converting into precious metals. And at that time, I was finding for definitely is gold or silver. That would be the top most precious metals that people were looking for. The gold coins were in 1 ounce denomination, and the price was too costly. And that's when I decided to buy silver, because there is this famous saying that silver is poor man's gold, right? So for those who don't have big budget, silver is the way to go. So I started buying silver. But at that time, I started becoming more busy with my studies. But still at the same time, I want to pursue gold. I still want to buy gold. So that's when one of my friends was telling me, he said, "Hey Naresh, why don't you buy paper gold?" Then I asked him, "What is this paper gold?" Then he said, "Oh, paper gold typically is offered by the banks, whereby these fund managers, they will collect your money, but then they will invest in some gold related tools. So essentially, you as investor, you get to enjoy the benefit of gold in terms of the price appreciation, but you don't have to worry about owning the gold." So the moment he told me that, it sounds fantastic. Because of course, owning gold is being a precious metal. You have to worry about where you keep and things like that. So here it kind of like, theoretically, it kind of solves the problem. So I went ahead with that. So what I did, I opened a paper gold account with one of the banks here in Malaysia. I put 2,000 ringgit into that account. This was in 2012. And then later on, what happened, fast forward in the year 2022, I noticed that the value of my paper gold from 2,000, it became 2,030 ringgit. Only 30 ringgit appreciation over 10 years time. So I was like, what happened? Right? I was curious to know what happened. So when I asked the banker, then the banker actually told me all the charges that they had. So that's when I decided to scrap off paper gold from my portfolio. Actually, I began in the year 2018. So in 2018, I read Wang Emas. So after reading Wang Emas, I opened the Gap account. I started putting 100 ringgit. And at the same time, in public gold, as we all know, we don't have to pay any excessive fees. So that basically protects our profit potential. And then in 2019, I became a dealer. And essentially, I became a dealer not to run this as a business, to be honest. Because at that time, since I knew that this method works, I wanted to, of course, earn more rebates, because as we all know, when you become a dealer, you can earn rebates for your own purchase. So that was my primary motivation. And then, so there was a turning point. So something happened. So this was in the year 2020. In the year 2020, as we all know, COVID happened. Many people lost their jobs, not able to pay the bills. And then many people are not able to put food on the table. And many of my friends and family also were put into that unfortunate events. I felt that this is something that we need to change, right? So for me, I'm lucky because in Singapore, we still have the job opportunity was still okay. Though in my case, I was in the research world, so still my job is still okay. Though I have friends who also lost their job in the research world, for my case, I was still very blessed. But I have, let's say if something happens to me, I'm still okay because I have the emergency fund. But there are many people out there who are in these unfortunate situations. So that's when I realized that they need to know this method. They need to know about this goal savings and how public goal is actually helping to become a better person, especially in terms of strengthening their financial portfolio. So during the Zoom meeting, I told him that I'm currently in Singapore, and I also told him that I want to do my sharing about goal savings and investment in English, simply because that I'm sure one day a public goal will go beyond Malaysia. So that's when he decided, okay, Naresh, let's write a book together. And that's how we both worked together and came up with the Bonafide Money book. So in terms of challenges at the time, of course, timing. Okay, the time that I had was very limited because of my scientist job scope. My biggest challenge was not actually the time, but rather, I think this is something that many people can also resonate. So that was the challenge that I faced, whereby in my previous job, I was working for a public sector. So the HR of the company, they contacted me because they saw my posting on Facebook. So they contacted me and then they say, Naresh, we find that you are doing these goal-related activities, and as a public servant, you shouldn't do this. So that's when I started exploring TikTok. And then what it made me become is that I became a better person in terms of my thinking skills. Because now that we are being given all the book of the month, and my financial portfolio also getting stronger because I keep buying gold even today. It's been 5 years since I bid public gold. I can assure you that PG1 system is so powerful. It's super powerful. So in fact, we are basically being surrounded by all these friends and also the like-minded individuals, part of this G100. To me, G100 means a giant. G stands for giant, and then the 100 means 100 times giant.